the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
He said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is Souk business landscape.
Good morning and welcome to SBL. This is Souk Business Landscape, where we not just talk about trending stories or talk about things that are affecting your economy, not just Nigeria or Africa, but we talk about world issues as it concerns business. We'll talk about developing issues as it concerns development, and we'll talk about emerging issues as it concerns your economy and mine. How are companies getting better? What's happening at the stock exchange? Today we'll dwell a lot on energy. What's driving the world? Money is made, money is lost. Partnerships being formed and those that are going haywire. We'll get to talk about it. What is Africa saying with Nigerian gas? You hear us discuss because we want you to be part of it. So hey, don't shy away. Go to every of our social media handles and let's talk. We also bring Trump into this discussion. He refuses every day to leave it. We will be there and we want you with us. My name is Chooks, John Rogers Chooks, and on the table today, I am pleased to tell you that I have the perfect gentleman for this particular journey. Your Excellencies, join me as I welcome on this table for today, the Oracle himself. He's here with us. Good morning, sir.
Chooks, good morning, good Nigeria viewers out there. It's lovely to be here this cool Wednesday morning.
Cool Wednesday morning. He's speaking his words one after the other. That is how the elites do it. Then on this other side, we'll have the fair one. Priya, good morning.
Good morning to you, Chooks. Good morning. The institution himself, the Oracle. Good morning to you, Lagos, Nigeria. It's great to be in your face again this Wednesday morning.
You're welcome. We'll go on a very short break, and once we resume, hey, we'll hit the first story. Don't go anywhere. This is Souk Business Landscape.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
He said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is Souk business landscape.
Welcome back. Now, the federal government has restated its commitment to sustaining steady gas supply from Nigeria to Benin, Republic, Togo, and Ghana to combat energy poverty and boost economic growth in West African sub-region. Minister of State for Petroleum Resources and Gas, Ekperipe Ekpo, gave the assurance in Abuja during a meeting with outgoing and incoming managing directors of the West African Gas Pipeline Company. That's a good one. Now, he said the Tinubu administration has made notable progress in expanding gas infrastructure, reducing flaring, and increasing availability for both domestic and export. As chairman of the Committee of Ministers of the West African Gas Pipeline, ECPO pledged continued support for regional energy cooperation, describing gas supply to neighboring countries as a top priority. He commended outgoing WAPCO MD, Michelle Bakut, for her leadership and assured incoming MD Abiodun Boderi of government backing to ensure uninterrupted gas flow to regional consumers. Boderi in turn vowed to focus on maintaining reliable supply to meet growing demand in the sub-region. Now, we have a gas project, we have a gas policy. We have this particular plan that was started by our past president, late though, that gas is going to do better than crude, and we are going to rely on gas as a major earner. Where we are right now, we are still at that particular process, but now getting gas across to our neighbors, Benin, Ghana, Cameroon should be part of it too, because they are all our West African neighbors. But now let's ask, have we gotten enough domestically to supply our neighbors? Dear Doc.
Well, I don't think we're just neighbors. By the protocol of ECOWAS, we are just one state, as it were. And there's been a push for a very long time to see how we can continue to integrate as one country using the same currency.
And do away with the borders.
Yes, so for ECOWAS, really, there's no border, really. We use common passports.
Do we?
Yes, ECOWAS passport.
Yes.
But remember, sorry, let me take us back. The Buhari administration shut down the door to our neighbors.
No.
Some
He didn't shut the door. And I think that's a misrepresentation of facts. What Buhari did was to see that some items were not allowed
to come from our neighbors.
To receive government allocation for forests. Because in the administration view, those commodities we could source from inside.
From inside, okay. Then
yes.
how do we get to explain the side of... Okay, no, go ahead. Let me find this chain of thought.
So, 42 items was on that list, which eventually this current regime had
lifted
down that anybody can get FS, depending on what you're trading. You see, but I think what the issue had been is the fact that there's been this war by successive regime in Nigeria, that even if products are going to come into Nigeria, they shouldn't come in through the bush path.
Okay.
They should come through
the gates.
The gates, where the customs are able to assess what is coming in and what is going out. So there was really no outright ban to say, okay, borders are closed to anybody. But if there was anything that the president was trying to do at the time, which he attempted, was able to how to construct a rail line that actually will move from Nigeria all far to Chad through Niger Republic, so that movement of goods and services between the neighboring countries was easy enough. Although a lot of Nigeria criticized him for that effort. And some people even went to say, oh, it was because he was from Niger Republic and he was building infrastructure from his own country. But the unfortunate thing is the fact that Nigerians refuse or fail to realize that the artificial boundary created by SY colonial masters is not what should separate us. Because what you see in that map that was drawn in Berlin in 1884 was the fact that two cousins were separated by an artificial imaginary line drawn in Europe.
In some cases, brothers.
So this is what you see. So you see somebody who says Nigeria and the Sierra side, but they're actually brothers and sisters. You have that also with Benin Republic on this side of the southwest. So, and look at it, the Cameroon, northern Cameroon, that's West Taraba today. Gombe area. Now, all these places, we call them northern Cameroon, but during the plebiscite, they agreed to stay as part of Nigeria. And today we call them Nigeria. So what that tells us is really that we as a people must look beyond those artificial boundaries. And until we begin to see beyond that artificial boundary, the ECOWAS protocol will really not work, because in Africa we're actually brothers and sisters, and we should not allow people who are thinking of dividing us and ruling us to continue to always have their way. So for me, giving gas to Benin, Ghana, Togo is doing good to your brother, who is actually part of us. ECOWAS is actually one state.
ECOWAS is one.
We are pushing even an agenda for a one Africa.
Yes.
Okay. While we look at that One Africa agenda, let's look at this business of gas. Now we have a West African gas pipeline, and it's supposed to be functional. Right now, it's still in construction. It's gone way beyond where it started from. But let's ask ourselves: should we focus on getting gas within Africa, just like Doc is saying, knock out those borders, as against shipping them or constructing that pipeline to North Africa, down to Spain, down to Europe? What should be our priority?
Okay, first of all, priorities have to come with economic sense. Yes, we are going to be our brother's keeper. And besides,
They are not taking it for free.
They're not. That's what I wanted to actually say. We are not giving gas to Togo, Cameroon, and Ghana for free. But we are.
Are you taking gas for free yourself?
So
no, I don't know. Is there a free gas site? So I don't mind. So I can move to your location.
we actually own the gas, and you know that very well.
Who is we?
I buy gas.
We are the one that is giving the gas to the Nigerian government.
I buy gas. So it's good to know that there are some people in Nigeria who don't buy gas.
I buy gas before doctor takes me somewhere else. Okay, so we are not giving it for free to Ghana, to Togo, and other African brothers. And one thing that is quite important is that we are not selling it to them for naira as well.
Yes, we're not.
We're selling it to dollars, and that serves as a very, very good business sense for trade balance. Now, you asked a specific question: if we're taking the gas straight, the pipeline straight to North Africa, then to Spain, to European Union, just the way the EU have been coming to talk about the transatlantic gas pipeline and all of that. Yes, but if that gas pipeline is going to go straight to Europe, do remember that it's going to go through the environment of some of these African countries before it finally gets to its planned or predetermined destination.
There are two different pipelines.
There are two different pipelines. It's still going to go, it's going to be a very, very long way. And this terrain, these territories that we're talking about are going to be beneficiaries. So it will be for our own good to actually put this, our neighbors, the African countries, into a priority list. If we don't, the security of that gas pipeline may be jeopardized. So if we're looking at it from economic sense and from security perspective, we can take this trajectory, which I think it's already in the pipeline anyways. For us taking gas to other African countries, remember that energy volatility across the whole world now is something that everyone is trying to deal with. The cost of energy is so high, even in other climes in Europe. Africa is not even having sufficient energy in itself, let alone. So in doing this, we are equally contributing to upscaling or upgrading the capacity of these African countries being able to produce energy, because we are indirectly we're supplying energy to these countries. If we do not do this, whilst we're talking about trading all together as Africans, I don't want to reiterate what the former president of the AFDB said again, because it's sounding like a broken record. For us to trade together, if we're going to continue to do this, then we have to look at it differently. What is our gain? And our gain must go beyond what we are currently looking at now. We must have individual gain as countries, and we must have collective gain as a continent. So for the collective gain of a continent, we must be looking at the Vision 2060, which is the African Common Goal that deals with different aspects of the African economy and goals that we actually want to achieve as a continent. And that is actually determined by each country's goal, not only in achieving the SDGs, but also achieving areas that attaches to energy, free trade, and the eco passport and the one currency that we're talking about.
The eco passport is in existence already.
It's in existence.
We've gone past.
Yes, we've gone past that.
Is implementation of the passport.
The passport. So let's look at. Then how have we achieved it if implementation is a problem?
We have a hard copy.
So let's equally look at this aspect of doing business. Now, we all clamor and shout about the African Free Trade Area Agreement, the AFTA agreement, and all of that. How is it going to come into fruition? I think we're already playing a significant role by this current decision that the chairman of ECOWAS has taken to actually consolidate the deployment of gas to these African countries. Is consolidating its decision, but it's also look at it from economic perspective for us to have a trading hub, a manufacturing hub, a business hub within the continent of Africa that can promote Africa and bring energy. Because if our aim is industrialization, this is a very laudable project for us to take.
Okay, if our aim is industrialization, you say. Okay, Doc, let's get back to you. Now, we see a lot of this initiative, but it's government driven. We want to see private sector getting involved in gas, be it exploration, be it distribution, be it even the pipeline itself. The last major chunk of investment we saw on that particular pipeline came from the UAE. When are we going to start seeing private companies? It mustn't be foreign direct investment. It could be Nigerian companies get involved here, not just LNG.
The space has been democratized, and what government has done is only that people have the money to be able to invest in that ecosystem to get work doing. And I'm not sure that there's any encumbrance at all in terms of regulation that people can get into that business. It is people seeing the opportunity and the profitability that is in that domain that they will want naturally to invest. But if you look at it and you see that the new MD that is resuming has a responsibility to develop that sector. As is projected, Nigeria have over 210 trillion cubic metric tons of gas. And that can serve us for God knows for how long.
Not only us, including Europe.
Yes, of course. So we have enough of gas deposits all across from the southern side even to the northern side, the Gombe. Still the challenge between Bauchi and Gombe in terms of who owns the right to the huge deposit is still ongoing. But it's to tell you that God has blessed us with this resource, and tapping it is what is important. And Mr. President is also very, very willing. I remember during the build-up to the 2023 general election, and he was actually saying that we have missed a lot of opportunity. That imagine that we had built that gas pipeline before the Ukrainian and the Russian crisis came, we would have cashed out a lot.
We would have been the major darling of the world.
Yes, so, but unfortunately, that was not to happen. But now we're having people, Morocco and UAE, partnering with the country to see how to build that pipeline to enter into Europe. So people who have money, of course, eventually will get into that sector and see how to develop it. And there's nothing national security around it. If we can give license for people to drill oil or crude, I don't think that there's any encumbrances on people who are going to drill the gases. But whether people have the wherewithal, this is quite capital intensive. It's like every natural resource, like in the mining sector. The quantum of money that is required may not be what one person can pull off. And so you may need to partner with other states that have done well in that environment, and then you can see them invest. Why not? If there's a way to mobilize, for example, Saudi Aramco with plenty of money, they can come and put in here, and then we see how to develop and make the country better off. And then, of course, access to gas to entire the ECOWAS country, not just Togo, Benin, and Ghana, becomes something that will be quite of advantage to everybody.
Thank you very much. Now, let's look at domestic use. Apart from the LNG, the LPG, I don't know where you say you get yours for free, right? We will get that.
I didn't say that.
Oh, you didn't say that? Okay. Now, let's look at that particular side. We are still flaring gas till tomorrow. And we need that to stop. We need to be able to have it in surplus so that the prices can at least go down. If the competition happening between Dangote and importers grows, which is going to happen, and bill is coming, the prices are going to go down. When are we going to start seeing prices of domestic usage of this particular product, majorly for those in homes, go down, and also gas flaring?
Okay, first of all, earlier in my submission, I did mention that the success of this project depends largely on individual African countries' progress they make in the production of gas and in the upgrade of the facilities. One of the challenges that we currently have is infrastructure in this sector within the oil and gas industry. We have a plan. We have abundance of gas in Nigeria, not only in the southwestern and in the southern part of the country. That how much of this infrastructure do we have? How much of this infrastructure do we have on ground to actually massively develop, harness, explore this gas for commercial use within the country, within our country itself? I think that because we've not actually made quite a good success in that aspect, that's even one of the reasons why we have the cost of the price of gas quite on the high side at the moment for 1 kg as we speak, which is like 1,250 or 1,300 naira as we speak, which is not supposed to be so. So if we have not done much, we can't satisfy the local economy. How are we then going to reach out to the demands from the neighboring African countries?
When you say it's not supposed to be so, what's your yardstick for measuring?
For measuring the fact that we are actually deficient in infrastructure?
No. When you say the pricing,
yes, the pricing
is not supposed to be so. That's the point I want you to throw a light on.
Okay, when I mean the pricing is not supposed to be so, I am actually saying...
Is it that it's too cheap or it's too expensive?
No, look, Doc, if considering the people and their purchasing capacity, considering their economic strength and muscle, it's expensive for them. Because now we are preaching climate change and all of that. We do not want the people to go on to continue to cut down trees for the production of charcoal so they can use that for their cooking purposes and for their domestic use. And we're all telling them to turn attention to gas, not to go back to using firewood because it depletes the trees in our forest and turn our forest to a bare field. Whilst we're trying to do that to sustain the ecosystem, we cannot continue. The only alternative that we're advising the people to use for now, we cannot make that expensive for them to purchase.
Okay. Can we go this route? How many people are producing LPG?
How many people are producing?
Selling. How many people are producing
You
LPG?
know the number. So I'll consider your question a rhetorical question.
Now,
so you know the number.
If we have government majorly producing.
Okay, so what is the challenge hindering private investors from going into that sector? He has said it is quite capital intensive. He's actually talking about bringing Saudi Aramco, which I would not support.
No, he said we should copy from, not just
copy. Oh, because I was thinking like we can bring them to come. No. Lately we've been getting investment commitment of $20 billion.
Investment commitment.
So it's a promise, but we have plans on where we can direct this attention to.
Government again.
No, because government, these are private individuals bringing this money to our economy.
They will choose where they want to put the money to.
They will choose, but we can entice them by giving some form of, we can bait them to actually channel their investment towards that direction, because we need investment, we need upgrades of facility and building of infrastructure in that part of the economy. not only for our own benefit. By the time we assure our investors or prospective investors that they are going to get, of course they are going to make money. These are MNCs and MNOs that we are talking about.
How can we get private entities to get involved in production?
Who is going to bail the cat in doing that? It's still the government that is going to bail the cat to bring in the private investors to come put their money there.
I'm asking that question is that because it's always very important when we sit down and we analyze issues of national importance like gas, and we're going to look at pricing. So we're going to be looking at what model is suitable for pricing. Is it going to be cost reflective? Is it going to be market driven?
Or is it going to be subsidy driven?
Is it going to be government regulated? Or is it going to be a dynamic pricing?
When you say government regulated, when it's government that is producing the bulk of it, what are they going to regulate?
No. It's not government producing the bulk. Even the NLP model, the model is a government-private partnership. And that's why you see that the NLPG has been the most successful partnership that government has entered into.
The NLNG?
Yes, has been the most successful compared to other sectors where see government play. Because what government is doing is that you have your investment in here, but you're also having a partner who has invested into this business, and everybody's regulated. And that's why you see that even in the dear time when Nigeria was really on the point of distress, whether it's during Goulart regime or during Buhari's regime,
they were still selling.
The dividends for NLNG was enough cushion for the nation because they were making profit.
But why NLNG is servicing exports more than domestic use?
Yeah, but whatever it is you are saying that model. It's not just as if government is involved. It's the fact that these guys are here doing business, which for me is the way government projects should run. You know, yesterday I was saying on this table that if people who work for NPC today cannot rewrite history by making themselves profitable, they should wait until they become 70 or 80 to queue, to beg for their pension.
That's harsh.
It's not very harsh. It's
not very harsh, but it's
but that's the reality. So if you don't want to beg for your pension, then you have to make the project work. So you see, almost all government projects are not working because the people who are out there feel that because the government is involved, I will only just collect my salary, and even if it fails, it does not concern me. And you forget that you're supposed to come back again when you are old, and this system is what's going to pay your bills. And you're not making profit via it. And this is why a lot of projects have not seen the light of the day, because we are not nationalistic about it. Patriotism is weak. So the point I'm making is that if you want private individual to play in a sector, then of course the regulatory environment had to be very friendly. In that case, you're saying there's opportunity in this terrain, come and put your money. And the kind of conversation that Priya is having here is that, look, people are probably come by, and therefore we must find something to do. But who is going to pay for the difference? Then we go back again to the failed subsidy regime.
Okay, so
why we are not going back to the subsidy side?
Yes.
One last word.
Yes, please. So I think when we are talking about players in this specific sector, you talked about the players who were in there and how they are servicing the external market. It's not all players within that sector that should be supplying or playing with the big boys in the international stage. There are some participants or stakeholders within the sector whose capacity can only service the domestic market, and they should remain there. if we have more players doing that in the domestic, with regards to the capacity to service in the domestic market, they can be there. And one other thing, for those who can supply the international market, fine, because that is even more capital intensive. Now, bringing both the government and the private player to come play in there, and for looking at the purchasing power of the man who should be able to buy, is we should not completely mortgage it, because this is the only source that we are telling everyone to resort to. The kerosene that we speak about, and we are telling people to stop using for cooking, how much is that as we speak? How much is the gas? The charcoal that we spoke about extensively on this table too, irrespective of the fact that people get to the forest to get it after bribing and paying some form of money to the people in the village somewhere in those inner parts of the country, they still go and cut. How much is that charcoal too? So we have to weigh the pros and the cons, the consequences that comes with us using any of this. And if we are settling for gas, government should not only bring in people to come and play in that place, but you also put in regulatory framework. Now, it's not going to be a regulatory framework that is going to hinder the businessman.
When you say should bring in people, it's as if there's a pool where you just dip your hand.
I'm talking about, no, of course, we all know how government brings people to play in any certain sector. We do know how. We don't have to delve into specifics.
Okay.
We know how government bring people to play in this sector. Government bring people to play in electricity, though it has its own pros and cons too. Government brought people to play in other specific sectors. Through the same channel, we're bringing people.
When you say bring people, the ones that were brought by, in quote, government in electricity, we're still having issues with it today. Government is still paying them instead of them paying us.
Yes, we must not forget that. But are we making progress and profit in NLNG?
Definitely.
We are.
Okay, we'll go to our second story. And hey, for those that still carry cash around in bags, we are coming for you. Central Bank of Nigeria reaffirms its drive to expand financial inclusion and stimulate economic growth by promoting alternative payment channels such as mobile money, agency banking, USSD, internet banking, contactless payments, and digital currency. Speaking at the CBN Fair in Lagos, Acting Director of Corporate Communications, Hakama Ali, said the Olayemi Cardoso-led management is advancing policies to empower individuals, boost productivity, and connect communities to economic opportunities. Okay, dear Doc, we're still going back to this first initial story that started some years back, cashless society. Now we're trying to see how can we really make this work. It's easier somewhere here in Lagos. Now with the advent of data, if it's cheap, and good internet connections, or even just your phone call, we shouldn't be having issues with this by this time after over 8 years. Why are we still having issues with it?
Well, I think infrastructure has been one of the major problems that's affecting some of these policies from really taking root. As we speak, fiber optic has not gone around our nation completely because these things are based and they are used via online. Majority of people, electricity is still a big problem. For example, in my community for close to 2 years now, some part of it don't have light at all. So, and if electricity are not supplied and internet is not evenly distributed, going entirely cashless becomes a problem. And I think that's where the issues are. We need to invest very heavily in terms of infrastructure. It's good that this president has taken the bull by the horn, trying to see how to extend the coverage to about 75 to 80%. So if we are able to do all that, then it is easier. And I'm not thinking that people are resisting cashless policy, because my very experience was in a local market some years ago, and I wanted to buy something, and I was telling the seller that, look, I don't have cash. And he told me, say, do transfer. So I did a transfer. And I got it. And another time I was on the traffic. And the boys walking on the traffic, and I said, I don't have cash. And they said, I accept transfer. So it's to tell you the extent of acceptance. But you also see that because of the network behavior, a lot of people become very skeptical. Sometimes this money is sent, and they are reversed.
And the customer is gone.
And the customer is gone. So this skepticism is a big problem. So it's a loss, because I show you on my phone that, look, the transaction is done, and it's showing successful. And you wait 2-3 days, you are not finding value for the transaction. Only to go back and say, oh, it was reversed. Network was bad. There's a glitch somewhere. So until we are able to actually overcome some of all these glitches, it will be difficult to have a full implementation of cashless society. But by the way, really, I've not seen any nation that operates 100% cashless society. In the US, people still spend the dollar bill. In Europe, people spend the euro. If you go to England, people spend pounds. So I have not seen an economy that is entirely 100% cashless.
But you don't carry the monies in Ghana must go, like we see sometimes.
Yeah, but what you mean is that it depends on the volume, but people have cash in their wallet. Mm-hmm. Take, for example, and this was one of the things that I was actually advocating when MFLA talked about the Naira redesign, that we didn't need to have printed the 1,500 or even 200 Naira notes. Would have just phased them out of circulation and stay with the lower denomination of 100, 50, 20, 10, 5. And that is enough disincentive for people who are carrying money in Ghana must go. So you have to deliberately force them to do banking. I've not seen $1,000 before.
But they exist.
But there is. Mm-hmm. So what that means is that, yes, it can be there on paper, but we should not allow it to circulate. And that is the only way you have to drive this, because why do people carry cash? Because it's convenient. So if I have $1 million, I can put it in my suit's pocket.
Okay, as you stated now, it's possible you have $1 million in your suit's pocket.
No, I don't have. Okay. That's not what I said.
Yes. Let's come to you. Now, we are looking at inclusivity. We are looking at being able to go to wherever and make payments for both goods and services. Now, CBN is talking about contactless payment. We see that a lot. China is always in the forefront of a lot of things. You can pay even with your thumb right now. But that also works with a lot of identification, registration. But we see a lot of that happen in Nigeria. You register your SIM, you register your NIM, you register your international passport. Why can't we sync all this to payment platforms?
Okay, most likely these ministries, departments, and agencies, the relevant parastatals, probably they're working in silos. They're not working in synergy. That could be one of the problems. Because if they are working in synergy and the National Identification Management Commission is working with the banks, they're working with the banks and they're working closely with the the Ministry of Information or the Ministry of Communications, and if they are working with other relevant agencies, I don't think there would be reason for us to, we go to the bank, we are told to provide certain information. You go to the hospital, government-owned hospital, whether at federal or state, you are told to provide some information. You go to telecommunications outfit, you're told to, those are private organizations, so, but they are managed by the Nigerian Communications Commission or supervised by the Nigerian Communications Commission. You are told to provide certain information. So if we are going to, we need to do a way where we have one portal where these details, sensitive details, can be entered into, and the Nigerian Communications Commission, the Nigerian Immigration Service, the Nigerian, including INEC, and the other relevant agencies can go to that portal. First of all government agencies at federal level and the relevant state agencies can go to that portal to access this information when they need it and when it is required. And when private institutions, when private organizations whose function that they carry out in society, have made it very, very obligatory for them to have access to those information, they are going to seek pass from you first, then to the relevant government agencies to be able to access it. Because if we do not do that, we are still going to have the same thing that repeated itself during the COVID-19 pandemic, where NIMC has said that if you have not linked your, what's it called now, your NIN with your phone line, if you don't do, they're going to shut it down. And they were, in that aspect, people gathered at Ikeja and gathered at their relevant places where they are going to obtain it. And that in itself actually gave rise to the spreading of COVID-19 during that period. So if we have one government portal where all these agencies can access these details, fine and good, we don't need to struggle. And also digitally, it was
access with payment as a major reason.
Yes.
So that way it makes it easy.
Makes it easy.
Once you can identify this person.
These days, people don't even store their BVNs or their NINs in anywhere, because there are codes that you can enter in your phone, and it will give that to you for a paltry sum of 15 naira.
Also add this way, why do we get to see banks send you a message that your BVN or your name is no longer connected to the account you opened?
Well,
we get to see that from time to time.
Yes, I think we get to see that, and I don't know why the banks do that, but it's most times you see this situation is tied to the previous picture I just painted, where you were told during that time, in order for us to cut down on the number of people going out at that COVID-19 period to go and get their BVNs, or there were some private organizations were given permission to generate virtual BVNs that can serve in the interim, where people can use that. Then subsequently, they can go to NIMC's office to go and actually activate, to consolidate their ownership of that virtually developed BVN or NIN. So at that particular point in time, people were using that and were doing that. Some actually had some problems with misspelling their names or a specific number not included in their phone number, some detailed problem. So they had to start going back to NIMC office to correct it after that point in time. Some of that problems can be attached to that. But I'm not an NIMC official, neither am I a banking official, so I may not be able to attend to that. But if we look at this financial, while we're trying to build inclusivity, financial inclusivity, see, Lagos, from the onset of this initiative, Lagos was a priority, state.
Lagos, Abuja,
Port Harcourt. I don't know if Kano was included, but I think they were looking at picking each state from the 6 geopolitical zones to actually use them as experimental phase for the project, and they did. And for Lagos, it's quite a success, because it's still belling the cat though. Why is that? Well, the massive business activity, commercial activity that takes place in the state equally can also be part of the reason. So for other states, there are some infrastructure that exist in Lagos that are not there in other states. And those infrastructure that exist in Lagos, not sufficient though, quite insufficient, cannot go around when we consider the population of Lagos. But it provides the environment for people living and businesses in Lagos to not only thrive, but also give birth to other businesses. just recently, somebody's phone got stolen.
Oh, yes.
So
Oh,
just
yes. Oh, yes.
so he lost 2 of his SIM cards and that brand new phone that was stolen, and he wanted to go do a welcome back for his SIM cards. Whilst he was busy thinking he'll be going to either the people, the yellow people, or the red people, or the green organization of telecommunications to go and do his welcome back SIM cards, he didn't actually go there. He actually went to people who own businesses somewhere in CMS, in Agege, or in Ikeja, who actually own good shops, but they do welcome backs of SIM cards for these telecommunication giants.
In partnership.
In partnership.
Direct partnership.
In direct partnership.
Okay, because you are not expected to do that.
Yes, you can't do that. Of course, you can't do that because the Nigerian Communications Commission has set up a rule for engagement between these big telecommunications and has set out how the procedure for you to do a welcome back. Now, SIM cards, you don't access SIM cards the way you get them very cheaply before because there's so much documentation that is put in process. In fact, after going to the bank to block his bank account and his ATM and the line through which he's getting alert, he was told, I'm sorry, you cannot operate your bank account for now until you go and do a welcome back SIM card for you to run. That's how difficult it is.
It's not difficult. They're just
No. I mean difficult.
Your
Yeah, you're protecting your money, you're protecting your identity, and it's security.
Okay.
So these are, you see those businesses scattered all over in Lagos, and they are being monitored and watched 2 ways. The telecommunication giant company that gave them that license to operate didn't just give it to them. They operate by the code and the standard being given to them by the Nigerian Communications Commission because they are being watched by the NCC. And they in turn need to pass down those codes to the third parties that, look, you're more like a subsidiary running this company at the ebb of society because we are close to the people and we don't want the massive crowd coming to clog our offices. So you are running it there, but there are codes of operations. That means they are equally carrying out training activities for those people who will be running it at the ebb of society. It leads to creation.
Can you bring this home now?
Yes, to creation of business. Now, through this, people can access these entities, and business is thriving at the end because these people equally involved in paying money transactions, facilitating commercial activities and money transactions between third parties at the ebb of society without the direct donation of the telcos. So it's quite a good face, and money, cashless policy and in financial inclusivity in some states, in the pioneering states, are working, I would say, at least to 55-65%.
Yeah, but why do we reduce the argument of financial inclusion to
carrying cash?
Cashless or cashful society? And I think there are some conversations that are not quite enlightening. So how does cashless society, that people are integrated into cashless society, translate into financial inclusion?
Now, financial inclusion for who?
So these are the conversations. So when you say financial inclusion, what exactly are you talking about? There are a lot of people who don't want to use this your platform.
That's where I was getting to. And
they have money stacked up. Are you saying that they are financially excluded?
Okay, hold on, Doc.
Well, I think probably what they were trying to paint.
It's just for us to be a little more enlightened in our conversation. So when we are looking at financial inclusion, how does cashless society enhances financial inclusion? Who is excluded? These are the questions we really need to ask.
Okay, so can we talk about those who are excluded financially
hold on.
and why it could be looked as financial
we have
inclusivity?
a banking system, the banking system that needs to work. We have people that are unbanked. We have those that have refused to get
People
banked.
that are unbanked.
Yes.
But
have
the
those
fact that they are
Unbanked.
does it mean that they are financially excluded?
No, they
Okay,
have money.
so now, probably we're looking at the ambiguity of the term that is being used. Financial.
We have politicians that, okay, we have business people, we have people that have made money through some good, bad, dubious means that won't want to declare. We have a whole lot of issues that we're dealing with. But now, let's deal with ability to go cashless, ability to get people into the financial banking system. Let's look at transactions and enlightenment. I traveled out of Lagos and went to, in quote, a capital city and wanted to make payment for something, and they refused. They said, no, we want to see the cash. Now let's talk about markets in villages that are patronized by most people from the towns that go to buy agricultural stuff and now bring it back to urban centers. How do we get them to get connected to CBN policies, where be it through banking, be it through POS, be it through, so that they just know that they don't need to carry money around for security reasons?
Yeah, but this is the point that I'm making. Yeah, if you want to get people to be banked, then of course we have to also look at the cultural practices around us and why people really don't want to be banked. And people are asking you, I keep 10,000 with you. In 1 month, you have not added, even in a savings account, you have not added 10 naira to it. You have debited me 65 naira.
Yes,
So why do I need to keep it with you when I can keep it safe in my
Yet
house?
it's a savings account.
Yes, savings account. So why do I need to keep it with you?
It's just monthly service.
So these are conversations. People put money.
They've come for you.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Idris said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizens. Promises, see something. This is suit business landscape.
Idumota Market. Eko Idumota, once a residential neighborhood, is home to Idumota Market located on Lagos Island. It is one of the oldest and arguably one of the largest markets in West Africa. Idumota is a historic neighborhood adjacent to the Lagos port that facilitated the slave trade and later, under the British indirect rule, it surrounded to exports that fueled the colonial enterprise. Idumota was also the location of an Armed Forces Remembrance Cenotaph called Soja Idumota, built as a monument to Nigerian soldiers who served with the West African Frontier Force. An Eyo Masquerade statue and a clock tower are